Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
It's Sunday night again.
It is.
For some.
Yeah.
Good evening, good morning, everyone.
Evening.
Hi,
morning.
Emmanuel.
Evening.
Emmanuel, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. I just had a quick look at the wind direction, so we can globally align to take off from runway 28, right or left, as you preferred. But for some of you who are at the gate, you can maybe go through the along the taxiway to reach runway 28.
Yep, I'm on the move. It's quite a long way down there.
That's why I'm saying that now.
Don't mind me, gents. Just taxi on by me. I'm comfortable right here for the moment.
So we'll wait a couple of minutes and I will just give a quick briefing at 5 to 7 UTC. So globally in 5 minutes.
Good evening, gentlemen. A bit late, but I'm here.
Right on time, no problem.
Good evening, everybody. This is Nikos, radio check.
555.
Thank you.
Hiya, Sam.
Hey, Rich.
Looking good in the Reno 4-2, buddy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw we have one more GB somewhere around here.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
Oh, this airport is huge, and I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah, we're gonna try to take off from runway 28. So this should give you the time to go back to the other side. Again, it's a relaxed flight, but looking at the wind direction currently at San Francisco and globally in all the area, wind is globally coming from the west. So we're gonna take off from runway 28, left or right, as you wish.
Okay, note taken. Thank you.
D'accord.
So 2 minutes before the briefing, for those who just joined, we will take off from runway 28, left or right, as you wish. So feel free to take the taxiway and get aligned. And for those of you who are already flying, if you have the Marina and boats add-on, you can have a look at the big quantity of boats that are aligned. So there is a bug with this add-on. Every approach on runway just before water seems to be modified, and they have put all boats aligned. I've sent a picture in the screenshot event. It's not only valid at San Francisco, there is a bug with this add-on on many other airfields.
Right, I'm going to take off a little bit early so I can film everybody departing.
Great.
Salinas Airport information Golf 1800 Zulu. Wind 25 Niner at 4.
I don't know if I'm going to get off on time. My software's still loading.
Sky condition 2,000 feet scattered. Temperature 12.
Okay, no problem. In any case, I can just follow the flight plan and try to catch up if need be. We're gonna go first, going southeast to the Silicon Valley. I will just indicate that in a few minutes.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Golf. Salinas Airport information Golf
everybody's over the cargo side.
Wind 25 Niner at 4. Visibility 10. Sky condition.
Mission to cross room. Too late.
Permission denied.
Stuff you that.
Okay, so quick briefing from the flight tonight. Thank you all for joining this flight. So we organize this flight every Sunday evening. There is another short flight organized mostly on Mondays. Tonight we're gonna go around the San Francisco Bay, starting from San Francisco, going southeast along the Silicon Valley, going above some of the buildings of our favorite companies that are building our PC hardware and stuff. Then going on the north, going up to Napa Valley, for those of you who like wine, and then going back to San Francisco. The flight plan is available in the event channel, event info channel, but if you don't have it, it's no big deal. You can just follow the pack. There is no strict rule. We just try to take the right runway direction because of the wind. So at the moment, mostly wind coming from the west, but we will give indication at each airport. Okay. Just a few words for those of you joining us for the first time. The goal is to have fun, so we keep any language, family friendly, please. No discussion about politics, religion, sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever. The goal is to have fun and enjoy the flight, okay? Again, no strict rule. If you want to use the slew mode to catch up, no problem at all. The goal is just to enjoy the scenery and to fly together. If you are a bit in advance to one of the intermediate airfield, we will do touch and goes most of the time. We'll recap that. Please do circles so we can stay together. It's much more fun. And especially at the end of the flight, if you can take your time just to wait that everybody has landed, that would be cool for everyone. Okay. The reason why I choose this location, San Francisco, is basically my ancestor. I have one of the first man who discovered the San Francisco Bay, so that's why I'm really interested in that area. Okay, no, come on, that's total bullshit. I know nothing about San Francisco. I've never been there. But if one of you lives in the neighborhood or have been there close, feel free to give indication. Feel free to say a few things about the area we're looking above. That would be much interesting.
So I tried to get in hold of my cousin. She lives just north of the bay, but she hasn't responded yet. And she has got Discord, so she would be able to walk in and start talking straight away.
How many on here we have? We're on 28 right. There's 6 planes, all three rows here and 2 deep. And I'd like for us to all take off at the same time.
I think there is enough space to take off together here at this airfield. So,
well, we just need to coordinate our takeoff time here. That's we're all doing it together here.
Exactly. Just one final indication. The speed is globally free, but we'll try to be around 140 knots during flight, just to try to stay together. The flight plan is short enough, so we should be able to do that in 2 hours. The goal again is to try to stay grouped. And so, as I said, we take off from runway 28, left or right. Choose what you want. And finally, if you want to follow me, my name tag in the game is Flying Mr. O.
Evening everyone, radio check please.
505.
505.
Leave it, Charlie.
Thank you.
Jonathan, John was on the phone about a quarter of an hour ago.
Okay.
If you happen to have real traffic on, have a look at your left. You will see a queue of airliners ready to take off waiting for us. It's like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, we have privatized the airport tonight, so we will go first. Okay, it's 7 UTC, so 7 PM UTC. So that's okay for everyone. We will take off and then go southeast towards the Silicon Valley.
Joe Call 63, can you communicate? That's okay, I'll message you.
Story of my life, talking away on mute.
Now we can hear you. Just an indication for the weather and the time. There is basically nothing to suggest. Feel free to set what you want. There will be just one waypoint where I will give you an indication. This is really to get a really nice scenery view. That will be for waypoint 3, just before the mid-flight pose.
Joe Call 63.
Yes, sir.
I flew your route this afternoon. It's jolly good. Why don't you do the Sunday flight?
Just getting started with this. It was a lot of fun putting that one together.
It was a lot of fun flying it as well. We've all got to start somewhere.
So just another indication in terms of altitude, do what you want, but the goal is to enjoy the scenery, so try to stay around 1,500 to 2,000. That's pretty cool to have a good view on this fantastic area.
How high?
1,000 feet to 2,000 feet.
So as you were flying that route, did you enjoy the landing at Mystery Valley?
Yes, I did. I have a feeling you came in from the other direction, because when I did my touch and go, I had to make a sharp turn to the left to go between the hills.
Definitely a virtual white knuckle moment for sure.
Yes, it should be jolly good going in the reverse direction there.
And just a reminder for those with transmitter, if you have got it installed, if you can get it running, please. Thank you.
So the first airport from San Carlos, that's Kilo Sierra Quebec Lima. We will use runway 30, so we have to go around and come back.
Okay, I'm over the 101, left traffic for San Carlos.
Little hazy through here.
Yeah, it's easy.
San Carlos, runway 30, correct?
Yes,
yes, correct.
Roger.
Yeah, this area is notorious for low-level fog, day and night.
It's nice to be able to fly in real time.
Yeah, real time and real weather, which just have this kind of haze layer.
Yep, looks like it should. I only live about 125 miles up the road.
Yeah, good evening, Frank.
Hello, hello.
Got some power lines here.
Wouldn't be any fun without those in the way, right?
would be funner if they actually make contact with them.
Yes, but that would be electrifying.
Shocking.
Shocking anyway.
You can hit the pylons if you've got them set up right.
Well, I guess it beats the heck out of the trees that you usually run into at the end of the runway.
I've got tangled in a few. Have you guys checked out the dam in Page, Arizona? There's a cobweb of them in front of that sucker.
Page is on Lake Mead, isn't it?
Can all aircraft make sure they have their strobes on and fog lights? It's certainly hazy.
Oh, when he panics.
Ooh, that was a hard one.
Yeah, it was a stall.
I was ahead of the pack, so I did a taxi back.
No, I watched your landing. It looked good.
Tell the mechanics to inspect the landing gear at the end of the flight.
Sorry, I got in your way, Emmanuel. I didn't see you coming in.
So we'll just do a circle on top, and then we'll go for Palo Alto.
Go, dude, go.
Touch. And gone. And right pattern.
So, on our way to the next one, which is Palo Alto. And the runway we're gonna use is runway 31. So Palo Alto is Kilo Papa Alpha Oscar, runway 31.
What's the heading towards it?
102 degree.
Thank you.
Follow the highway.
And we just need to warn all the gentlemen playing golf that we're just messed a little bit their game at the moment. There is just a golf course just near the airfield. I have less haze in this area, but the wind is quite strong, a lot of gusts.
No, we're over East Palo Alto, so don't run out of gas. East Palo Alto is a bad neighborhood. Believe it or not, even out here.
Yep. Yeah, setting up for a right pattern.
If you look off in the haze there to the right, for most people, there's that little tower sticking up out of the haze. That's Stanford University. Which is pretty much why this place is Silicon Valley.
Yeah, the stadium is quite visible if you go above Stanford. The plan initially was to have a waypoint over it, but yeah, all the buildings are not really visible in the overall area. But still, it's one of the center of gravity of Silicon Valley.
One of the things unique about Stanford, it's why this is Silicon Valley, is if you invent something as a professor or a student or something, you get to keep the intellectual property rights to it and spin it out into a company. Most other universities in the U.S., if you do something while they're paying you a salary, they get it. Stanford does not do that, which is why all these spin-outs are on here.
Okay, you keep the own property of your you keep the IP of your discovery then.
Yep, you get to keep it. The university doesn't take it. They'll buy it from you, but they don't own it. So that's why all these little companies, Hewlett Packard and all the rest of them, all spun out, and then they just kind of stayed out here.
That's a very wise policy.
Yeah, usually in a company it's the case. I mean, if you work for a company, the company owns the IP. I didn't know it was
exactly
the same case for university.
Just Stanford. Of course, Leland Stanford made his money in railroads out here.
Okay, I'm gonna circle around Palo Alto before we move to the next one.
Oh, it's a great pleasure landing on top of two other aircraft.
It happens.
It requires good coordination. So.
Which runway are we using for Palo Alto?
3-1.
3-1, roger.
So now we're on our way, really above the center of Silicon Valley. The first waypoint, which is visible in the sim, are the headquarters from Google. If you want to fly a helicopter, so using the nav map, you can try to do a kind of a test and try to find all the headquarters. You have NVIDIA, Hewlett Packard. You name any big name in the IE, you will find them in this zone.
Gosh, what a lovely day for a flight around here.
Yeah, the fog cleared up here down south.
Yeah, I've got lots of fireflies in my live view.
So waypoint 1 at the edge of an empty area is the different buildings that are the headquarters of Google.
To the left there is Moffett Field on the way down. There's big buildings sticking up. That big one is it's a wind tunnel. The one that kind of has that scoop-looking thing to the north, that's the air intake for the wind tunnel. And those two, unfortunately, those two square buildings on the water side of Moffett, in real life, those are gigantic blimp hangars. And you can see them from all around. Unfortunately, the game just rendered them as big boxes.
And the wind tunnel is used by who?
NASA. It's a NASA facility.
NASA, okay.
I remember as a kid coming down the freeway and seeing those giant blimp hangars.
Yeah, you can barely see the boxes, but those blimp hangars you can see for miles around.
So building and concrete is the first part of the flight. You will see after we're going to move much more in a more green area. But yeah, I found it's really impressive to see all those buildings together here in the Silicon Valley. So waypoint 2 is actually not visible in the sim. Officially, because they used old pictures of the area, it's not visible. But waypoint 2 is supposed to be the new headquarters from Apple. It's a kind of big circle UFO-shaped building. It's absolutely not visible in the game, so possibly Microsoft has done something in the sim, maybe. There were some add-ons available on FlightSim.2, but since the recent issue with the accounts and so on, I couldn't find anyone still available. So waypoint 2 are still the old buildings, but today in real life there is a big circular building, which is the new big facility from Apple. The older building at 1 Infinite Loop, that was the address in Cupertino, are still visible. But I can imagine that maybe it was not the first priority for Microsoft to make sure that the Apple headquarters was correctly modeled.
Conspiracy theories?
So at the next airport, Mineta, San Jose, we're gonna use runway 30. You choose left or right as you wish. The wind is still coming from the west. Visibility on the mountain chain at the back is really great.
Mitch, what do you know about Winchester Mansion?
Don't know. What is it?
Right, it's right near here. That's the famous Winchester Mansion of old. I think they were related to the Winchester rifle and all that development of the guns.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Isn't that the one that has all the secret passages and stuff or something?
She kept building, yes.
Yes, apparently she felt some sort of spiritual remorse for the firearms that her family made and that killed so many people, so she felt compelled to, for some strange reason, to keep building onto that mansion, staircases and doors to nowhere and the like.
I'm flying over it right now. It is there. So if you Google map it and then go fly over it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
If anyone's interested, I'm sharing my screen, and this is what the Apple headquarters look like.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I mean, it was built like 5 or 6 years ago. So.
And a quick Google search revealed the location of the file, of the hidden file.
Oh, you mean you use the archive of Flight Sim 2, or?
No, it was some other site I found it on. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, because I quickly looked at the most frequent add-on site, but couldn't find it. So I will double check. I was impressed also by the size of this airport, Mineta San Jose. So I don't know if this is the main one for the Silicon Valley.
For San Jose.
Yes.
Yeah, one hell of a display threshold.
Flown in and out of here a couple times, and the last time we flew out of here, my little granddaughter got to look out the window as we circled and climbed and saw the other aircraft get on the runway and take off below us. That was very cool.
Yeah, I went to a conference one time in the Google headquarters. It's pretty impressive. It's like all the food is free, even for us lowly oil industry visitors. And the only thing you had to charge for is like candy and junk food, and they charge by how many grams of fat it had to try to incentivize you not to eat it. Yeah.
It's a good approach.
Also, guys, I got to see the Star Wars, I think it was the Millennium Falcon livery get pushed back here on one of the airliners.
The Virgin Atlantic.
Could have been, yeah.
747, yeah.
Oh no, this was a lot smaller. It was only a 737. Or even an A320. I couldn't tell right off. I was too busy enjoying the colors.
Yeah, Virgin Atlantic was a sponsor of when they released the first 3 episodes of Star Wars. I worked with them at that time, and I remember all the small vomit bag you get in the cabin. Each of them were with specific design. So you had one with like the layout of the aircraft, showing you where the Jedi were sitting and where the bad guys were sitting. I don't remember the name. But yeah, some customized bags. They must cost a fortune now. Some people are collecting them.
But only if they've not been used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, is a sickening.
So heading north now to the north side of the bay, going to Hayward Executive. So I'm not too sure if the red area that is visible, which is a kind of reserve, natural reserve, if this is accurate compared to what is here in real life.
It's what, sea salt, isn't it, Mitch, or something like that?
Sorry, you wouldn't pay attention. What's that?
The red area at Fremont.
Not sure.
I'm trying to remember what I remember reading up on it. I think it's something to do with sea salt.
Yeah, it looks like they are collecting salt from.
Yeah, there are salt drying ponds around here. I don't know which ones are which, but
yeah, it's usually pretty accurate, Emmanuel. I've been in here a couple times over the years, and that's what it usually looks like when we're coming in.
I was just surprised by the color, so because it must have some kind of metal inside the sea.
Why there are so much basins in the bay?
You'd have to read up on it. I think it's something to do with drying it out.
Yeah, usually when you try to dry and to get salt from the sea, you build this kind of small area, small basins or baths. I don't know how you say in English.
Lagoons.
Lagoons, yeah.
Yeah, they eventually take water to dry under the sun and to get the salt from it.
There's even a pink one here. Was in this area 20 or 30 years ago on application.
I came to San Fran a few years back during the Philly week, and that was quite impressive events where they've got.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do back in the day was to take a Wednesday off from work, and there's a ferry that goes from Vallejo to the foot of Market Street at the ferry building, and I would get off there, go to the stadium, and take in a game for the Giants.
Very cool.
Go Giants.
That's right.
Runway 28 for Hayward.
Yes, I was just checking for the wind. Runway 28 at Hayward. You have two runways. Depending on your aircraft, yeah, the longest one is 28 left.
If anyone's doing the ILS, it's 111.50.
That's actually a localizer.
Is it? Okay.
Has anybody had an issue where the air traffic control keeps repeating the same message over and over and over again?
Indeed.
Are you on 12? Yeah, are you on 124.85?
No, I'm on 122.900.
Yeah, just detune another channel and switch to it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So for those of you who are already around Hayward, you can maybe just do a circle so we can all gather before we leave the buildings and the concrete and the cities and go into the void.
Touch and go?
Yes, touch and go.
Dagger-Lee.
I can see you.
Okay, so next leg is to Livermore, Muni, 68 degree. And we'll have to go above the small mountain chain that we have on the northeast.
Well, hiya, Bill.
Hiya, Rich.
The G2 working okay?
Hopefully I rolled back the driver twice.
Oh.
I'm not too sure about the rendering on the hills because some of them look like they've just been sprayed in green. Doesn't look really realistic.
Now these chaparral hills, that's actually pretty realistic. You have to get some water.
Yeah, it looks about right to me.
So it just suddenly shift from green to brown. So okay. And so at Livermore Muni, next one we're gonna use runway 25. Again, there are 2 runway available. The short one is the left, the longest one is the right one, runway 25. The distance in terms of visibility, if you're in real time and real weather, it's fabulous.
Let's see this high, Alice, if you want to shoot it, 110.5.
So this one will be our last touch and go. The next one will be the mid-flight pose.
Is there actually any water in these pools down here in real life?
In their reservoirs.
I'm just thinking about the drying up. All the water is gone.
Yeah, the shape doesn't look very natural.
Yeah, just to the east of the airport and a little bit south somewhere here, I'm trying to find it, is Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Pretty famous national lab in physics and nuclear energy research.
If you go tonight, it'll be the one that glows.
So for the next waypoint there is a little surprise, as you may have seen into the indication for the flight plan. It's a visual reference point. All you have to do is to set your time to 7:50 in the evening and look for the red lights. So that's 2:50 UTC, 7:50 in the evening. And just look for the forest of red lights.
Oh yes, you got me those.
That looks great.
The wind farm, is it?
Yes, indeed.
So this is Altamont Pass. It's, if not the largest, I think it was the largest wind turbine farm in the world. Like 5,000, I think, of them. So if you want to practice slalom, that's the place to be.
I don't know if it's the largest. Palm Springs can give it a run for its money.
Yeah, I bet it would.
Dave, fill your boots, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd be in heaven.
Take a few out.
So it may hit a little your frame rate because of all the wind turbine.
A bit too high to get me out.
So this place is a good stress test for your graphic card if you want to check a new configuration.
That's bizarre. My sim has just stopped drawing them. They've vanished.
It's in shock.
They've just reappeared. Or some of them have.
I got a stutter.
What time did you say was the best?
7:50 in the evening.
Thank you.
Get a nice pink effect in the sky, plus all the red lights. Very nice.
Oh my god, there's thousands.
Yeah, what amazes me is all these windmills, they have to replace the blades after so many years. I would think they'd last almost a lifetime.
So we're gonna stop just after. If you wanna take a few minutes to fly around the wind turbine field or farm, feel free.
If I built a wind farm like this, there'd be no bloody wind. No, my luck.
I would imagine most of us have seen one of these blades on a trailer of a truck.
Yeah, very many. Long, aren't they? They're huge.
It's a couple of roadside these days.
And so for the airport, so this is the mid-flight pose, full stop, runway 23 would be the best one for the wind.
I'm assuming so, being so close, they have to be coordinated in the rotation.
Oh, my lights are just coming on. Quite effective, aren't they? Yeah, very decorative. First time I've seen that.
Great.
Or to get lost in the mountains here.
Did you say runway 23, Emmanuel?
Yes, 2-3.
And we're starting to see them all rotating.
The view on the wind turbine when you land on runway 23 is fantastic. You just see them on top of the hill. Fantastic view.
Is everyone getting turbulence, or is it just me?
I am.
I'm getting some white caps on that water.
So we're gonna take a few minutes break here. And we try to take off again by 8 o'clock UTC, 8 to 8 to 5 past 8. So yeah, globally 10 minutes stop. If you want to stay in the sky and have a look at the wind turbine, feel free. Grab yourself a coffee or whatever you like, and we'll take off in a few minutes.
Coming in behind this spruce goose seems to be a dangerous endeavor.
Okay, I was wondering what was the H4 as the aircraft code. Yeah, it's the supposed good.
Right, I'm going to go and grab a quick coffee.
Sounds like a plan.
I grabbed a Budweiser. It's easier. Who's flying the Hawk then?
You really need to know?
Is it you, Joe?
Hey, that was a lucky guess. I couldn't find me 737. Just looking for the coffee shop.
It's going to be a long walk.
I think Ellis has hogged all the coffee in that shop.
Gotta find it. I think I pulled my thermos out.
That's the weirdest thing. Now I'm sat here on the airfield, the windmills have started spawning all around me. Loads of them were missing on the way in.
You have a lot of graphics card.
No, I think it was a problem with the server. They're all there now. Thousands and thousands of them.
The view I got, they're smoking now. They must be near on fire. If you look at my stream, you'll see.
Is that just DLSS? I see some lovely Kodiaks.
Yes, sir.
I'm in a Kodiak.
So for the second part of the flight you can go back to daylight if you prefer. It's going to be pretty dark here. And we're gonna use runway 23 again to take off.
Well, just crashed.
I saw you.
Well, it's a fun slalom course.
So we're gonna head now more to the west. So heading is 282, but you may want to go more north to go along the hills and on top of the different cities of Antioch, Pittsburgh and Bay Point. You can set your time to daylight, and it's also impressive to see all the wind turbines together. That's It's really crazy. I'm gonna take off runway 23 and circle above the airfield for a few minutes until everyone takes off.
Yeah, seeing the red at night was cool, but seeing it during the day is pretty impressive too.
Like a haze over there with windmills.
Ooh, grassy.
I've just seen a field called Funny Farm. Fox Charlie Alpha 2. North of current position.
You'd be mad to go there.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think almost everyone has taken off.
There's still a few latecomers. Had your queue at the coffee shop.
And they had no change.
Wait for me! No, they had to restock.
Now they've run out of cups.
You were lucky to have a cup. All we had was a rolled up newspaper.
You were lucky we had to use a rolled up napkin.
Oh yeah, that's what that is on the left and right. Cup holders. Cool.
It's a CD player, really.
Like an episode of Star Trek is being filmed below.
Mandalorian. Have you caught up with all the episodes, Jonathan?
Yeah. It's all been a bit predictable this year, hasn't it?
I think some of those fight scenes are ridiculous, where one gets wounded out of about, how many? 24?
Yeah, but they've got indestructible armour on, haven't they?
Well, it didn't stop those laser sword things.
So you're saying it's not realistic, even though they're in space with lasers and laser swords and...
Exactly.
What, it's not real?
No, I mean, the proportion they killed ain't in line with how many...
This is from how many movies where the crack troops on the part of the Empire couldn't shoot a dustbin from 10 yards?
Yeah, miss every time, don't they?
It's a bit harsh on R2-D2 calling my dustbin.
What do we train for day and night, these guys?
I was at the Star Wars convention in London last week. It was brilliant.
Yeah, we went to a thing a couple of years ago where they had a load of the props there. It's fantastic to see it up close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Who was the character Nason and a life-size figure?
Darth Maul.
Oh, that was him, yeah. Yeah, it was an exact... film prop, wasn't it?
So just for the... I don't know if I've told this story on the channel before. My uncle, many years ago, was in the Merchant Navy, and he missed his boat in San Francisco, and a girl that he'd met the night before, and the reason he'd missed the boat, drove him up the coast to get back on his ship. Nearly lost his job over it. And when he got back to England at the end of his journey, he flew back to America, and that's how my cousin came to exist. They bought a house just north of the San Francisco Bay. Well, they didn't buy a house, they bought a plot of land in Marin County and chopped the trees down, because my uncle was a carpenter. Chopped the trees down, built the house, and there was a family had moved in just along the road. Just along the road, about a mile up the road, and they became friends with them. They didn't have any money. He was a filmmaker. It was George Lucas. Wow. But it was when he first started. Wow. It was like, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, he gave him a life-size model though, didn't he?
Well, no, Charlotte got that. The Lucasfilm obviously have agreements with, or friendships with, various businesses around the area. And for an offer, one of the big supermarkets in the area had a life-size prop of Darth Maul as a raffle prize, and my cousin won it. And she shipped it over to one of my other cousins who's a mad Star Wars fan. God knows how much the shipping cost.
Or the crate. You could put a mini inside it, couldn't you?
But I remember, people forget just how much Star Wars was done with kind of, everything was cheated to save money. So there's the famous scene where the Sandman stands over Luke, shaking the stick up and down. That was the same piece of film played forwards and backwards because they had no money to do any more shooting.
And they filmed that whole load of scenes in their redwoods, didn't they?
Oh yeah, the trees behind my cousin's house. When I went to visit, I was about 20 when I went to visit. I thought this is really familiar, and then of course you realise it was Endor, essentially. So that's another one, saving money. The forest around those houses, where the houses were built, was Endor, and they did it because it was cheap. Because they could do it basically in George Lucas's back garden.
Yeah, that was right, yeah. What it's saying is he was just working from home.
Essentially, yeah.
He was, basically.
Because he didn't have to get any permission to do it on his own land. So he could go and, you know, put all the camera stuff in and...
May the forest be with you.
Fly those motorbikes, if you can call them that. Don't know the proper name.
Speeder bikes. Of course, these days you're lucky to get within a few miles of the house because there's so many fans have tried to get there, they've had to put electric fences all the way around it.
My daughter met Ewan McGregor and who's the little guy? Warwick Davis last week.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really good. And then on the last day I went along to take some pictures, and taking pictures of all this lineup of Chewbaccas, and suddenly this guy appeared and stood in the middle and they all clapped. And it is the guy who's the current Chewbacca in the latest movie.
Ah, I saw your picture then a couple of days ago.
That's it, Dave, yep.
Yeah, good one that was. Have you all seen Thumb Wars?
No.
No.
Oh, you'll have to check it out. Do a search. It's just obviously a mic take, but it's so funny.
Just runway 32 for the next airfield, Buchanan Field, KCCR. 32.
So, to give you an idea, Obi-Wan Kenobi is called Ooby-Doo Skadooby.
That's fine.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
At least it wasn't in a grocery. You could have had Cuke Skywalker.
I'd hate to think if he was hungover.
Those hills to my left are quite impressive, aren't they?
So there's a bit crosswind here because the wind is 217 from what I've seen.
So the high peak there is... The high peak there is Mount Diablo at the back of that range of hills.
Oh, there's a Terran buzz.
So we'll continue now to Napa Valley, heading 309.
Jonathan's uncle lives up near Santa Rosa now. He used to live just south of Petaluma, wasn't it, Joe?
They've lived all over the top of the Bay Area, in Lagunitas, Francis Drake Boulevard, which is where the old house was, where Lucasfilm is.
Oh,
Well, sorry, Skywalker Ranch, sorry, not Lucasfilm. Sorry?
Yeah, he had a business in San Rafael.
San Rafael, yeah.
We're gonna land there.
It's funny, we went over to visit one time, and did a day in the Napa Valley going around the wineries, and we went to the Nabam Coppola winery, which is obviously Francis Ford Coppola's hobby winery. And while we were doing this wine tasting there, they brought out a bottle to show us, and it was in Italian, nobody understood it, and they said, "We've made this for a friend," and it was Italian for Skywalker. And he said, "This one isn't for sale."
So you will see the big bridge here is very, very awful. It's not very well modeled because there is a train bridge plus road. They can fix that and provide better models.
Yeah, but the hills are very nice.
The hills are alive.
Now I've got Julie Andrews in my head.
Drove a U-Haul hauling a trailer over that thing, and it cost $20 an axle American.
Wow, that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, I've definitely got server issues.
Sorry for the semi-drivers.
The sim has stopped serving me data. Just started serving it. How strange.
I think I got online on the evening. Point right.
Maybe it's a kind of retaliation because we spoke about Apple before.
I'm getting a lot of buffets in.
I'm recycling my graphics just to see if I can get it to correct itself. Just out of interest, does anybody know with the simulator, does the servers that you connect to for multiplayer, is that where the scenery comes from as well?
I have no clue.
Silence is golden.
I remember somebody saying it was not the same server.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Sure about that.
It should not, because otherwise the Google Map add-on should not work, right? Or
that's a good point.
Or no, maybe it did.
Unless that just proxies it and replaces whatever. Yeah, this is having serious issues. It's not reloading the sim back in. I've lucked into the worst server farm.
I got some funny things going on too, but the flight plan's not depicting properly. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, same here.
Fly headings.
One of those 3 bridges I've got trees on it.
Yeah, that's a good question for you, Jonathan. I've got my icons while I'm tracking everybody here. They're all facing north.
You have the magnetic icon option.
You've chosen the wrong format in the settings of Little Nav Map. You've chosen VATSIM instead of IVAO.
Ooh, okay.
That's what causes the airplanes to point in the wrong
I will
direction.
check into that. Thank you so much.
Concur with that.
VATSIM and IVAO VATSIM and IVAO have a common ancestor in terms of the way their servers work. It was called an FSD server, and then they fell out with each other, and so they made their formats ever so slightly different from each other on purpose, it seems.
Just to mess people about that weren't members and wanted members.
I don't know why.
Almost sounded like
It's kind of, when you start looking at it, it becomes...
Take runway 24. Sorry.
Yeah, it becomes quite damning when you kind of look at it,
Somebody's
because
put a hill right in my route.
the vPilot
Somebody's put
software...
a hill right in my route.
Sorry, I'm losing my data connection, I think, completely.
Well, thank you for that information. I will work on fixing that then.
With pylons.
Well, I guess nobody has. The love and peace, the traditional, the classical one with the circle and the dragon in the middle, the arrow in the middle. Just flew over it again.
I've just discovered, not for the first time, that turning photogrammetry off improves your frame rate no end.
That Hercules sure is the sight in the air up ahead.
Okay, so next heading is 261 to Sonoma Valley.
Which runway do you want to use so I won't be a rebel this time?
At Sonoma?
Yes.
Virtual, there is no wind, or it's variable, only 5 knots, so we can take runway 25, it's almost in the direction.
Runway 25.
And so the Sonoma Valley airfield is the one, the left one. Sonoma Sky Park is very close on the right with buildings. I don't know if there is a big explanation why in this region there is virtually nothing compared to Silicon Valley, where all the buildings are one next to the other.
I imagine some sort of grant was given to businesses or some kickback to build on that part of the city.
It hasn't made it here yet.
It's the same reason as loads of IT companies in Ireland, because they were given huge tax breaks to go there.
So it was not only for the Guinness.
It's always for the Guinness.
Guinness, there's just a bonus.
We went over to Ireland on holiday a few years ago, and I had my first proper pint of Guinness in Ireland, and as the barman brought it up, he just smiled at me, put it in front of me and said, "This is the real thing."
And it is better, isn't it?
It is, the water's different.
I will taste it in 2 weeks. I'm going to Dublin for the...
Oh, you'll love it.
Having said that, they have moved the factory. The old factory shut down a couple of years ago.
I wonder if it's still using the polluted Liffey water.
Maybe that's what makes it taste good.
I went there on my boat. We went into the first place we called at was a tiny little village called Castletown End, and we went in this bar, and this young Irish girl served us, and I wasn't ready for her accent, and it blew me away, you know, and I just couldn't believe what I was listening to.
I wonder if she felt the same.
With my accent, she probably didn't understand a word I said.
Sorry?
And that was my first of many that lunchtime of Guinness. I think I was quite drunk for the afternoon.
Well, I'll be visiting this summer after Fairford, and I will check myself.
My brother-in-law and I have a theory that beer tastes better out of the glass with the brand name on it. If you mix the glasses up with the beers, they don't taste as good.
Yeah, this Budweiser tastes good out of the bottle.
Oh dear, that stuff's dreadful. Beer for children.
Must be the programming from watching the commercials, right?
The thing that makes me laugh about Budweiser is the word lager means kept, but on the badge of Budweiser it boasts about how fresh it is.
I only buy it to support the horses.
It's fresh out of the horses.
I guess a secret ingredient.
They make it with rice, don't they, Budweiser?
Yeah, lager is more the principle when you brew the beer compared to the ale that you mostly find only in UK.
Yep.
Lager is lower temperature when you brew the beer. So we'll circle around the next airfield, Gnoss, so that we can stay together. Wind is variable, so runway 13 would be the easier compared to the. Will just put us aligned for the next leg.
I can see you, Joe.
I can see you too.
Well, some nice news from the real world. I passed my instrument rating renewal on Thursday, which was
congratulations, well done.
Rather fun. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you. It's the most stressful event of the year for me, I can tell you. It really is quite something.
Yeah, what was that thing you said about IFR, Frank?
What you mean, David? You had actually to do something. It was not in an Airbus, right?
Yeah, no, this was real world instrument stuff, which is not always easy.
I've got you in sightly. I don't think you've got your climb performance that I have.
So David, did your practicing in the simulator actually help?
Absolutely. You wouldn't believe how much. In fact, my examiner said to me, "Oh, you've got a simulator at home, haven't you? You've been practicing, haven't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I can tell by the way you do the ILS." Yeah. I tell you what, without this simulator, you wouldn't have a hope, because you just don't do that much real-world instrument flying at all as a private pilot, and you'd get so rusty it would be untrue. But using this, you can practice fantastically well. It really is amazing. In fact, I would go so far as to say that if you can fly this simulator, which most of you guys can, then quite frankly, you could do it in the real world, no trouble at all.
Yeah, I think Ryanair's proof of that.
Yeah, I agree with David. I think that's absolutely spot on.
And particularly now that Microsoft Flight Simulator's got so good and so realistic, with the weather and everything, it is just a brilliant learning tool.
When I first flew the Sim in 2005, I found it far more difficult than the real thing.
Yeah, but these days it's just the same.
Yeah, I agree.
Thursday as well, it was quite amusing because I don't know if you remember, but Wednesday the weather was absolutely dreadful. Thunderstorms and clouds and howling rain and some named storm or other. And on Thursday it was marginally better. We still had thunderstorms and cloud and roaring wind and so on, but it was just about flyable. So we hung around at Biggin Hill while a thunderstorm went through, and then we nipped off and actually did the stuff at Lid that we had to do. And going all the instrument approaches at Lid were all done in cloud and with pouring rain.
Mind you, that's when you really need it.
It's just like flying in the sim then, if you couldn't see where you were going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can do that in the sim, and in fact, I had been practicing in terrible weather in the sim for the last few weeks, and it really helped.
It's interesting. I did a quick video the other day because I've been reading the book on how to fly a plane properly, and I did a short field takeoff, and somebody commented, that was obviously a real pilot, or real CFI I think, and said there's no way you would attempt that in a real plane. And I thought, well, yeah, but that's why I'm in a simulator and I can have a go at it. So I basically chose an airfield that was so short there was no margin for error.
Yeah, it builds up your confidence no end that you can do all these crazy, knife edge things on the sim, and then you know that in the real world you're going to be just so much easier.
I know a lot of people complain about trees being at the end of runways, don't they? But if they went to Bodmin, they'd see the real thing.
Sodding great trees at the end of the runway.
Yeah.
Well, having said all that, my computer's gone into shock and I've just had a crash to desktop, so I think I might have to leave it there.
I think some of our problems are probably due to that other lot on the same server.
Nah, servers handle tens of thousands.
Thanks for that, Jonathan.
Yeah, but the last 2 dozen messed it up.
So no specific wind in San Rafael, the next one, so runway 22 would be easier to take, facing the hills. Scenery is pretty impressive here with all the small details.
Yeah, this is where my cousin lived for a while, just down this part of the world. As the prices have gone up and up, they've moved further and further north away from the city.
Yeah, they lived where the highway is, going past these trees, where it opens up into the bay.
Yep. It's funny, somebody mentioned earlier about getting the ferry across the bay to go to the city. I've been on that ferry.
Is the water as cold as they reckon it is?
Yeah, it's absolutely, it'll kill you with shock if you're unlucky.
Weird, isn't it?
And if the cold doesn't get you, the sharks will.
Or the crocodiles.
Remember when I came to visit years ago, I didn't really believe all the stories about the sharks, and then it was on the news one morning, some kid had been bit in half. That was off of Point Reyes, but outside of the bay, yeah, it's Great White 101 basically, along the coast there, because it's the mackerel and tuna routes along the coast. There's some islands off the coast called the Farallones, and that's where you get to see the sharks all over the place because there's seals out there as well.
John was allowed to go out to that because it's like a nature reserve, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not allowed to land there.
Yeah, he did because they went out on the ship supplying people, you know, working on it.
Basically, we're gonna follow the motorway now.
Time for a high-speed run, I think.
And so the next waypoint, waypoint 4, you should all know it. It's orange, it's big, and James Bond was on it.
Octopussy.
And no, it was
View to a kill.
yeah, View to a Kill with Chris Jones and Christopher Walken.
Oh, he was good at that.
He's the creepy one, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is.
And so the challenge is to fly along the bridge between the...
Oh, I've done that loads of times.
It works. It works.
What is it they say about pride coming before a fall?
So what you're saying, Emmanuel, is we got to shoot the hoops, do we?
That was going to land on the prison, what's that island?
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. With a helicopter it can be done, yeah.
Oh, it's better in a plane.
I don't know if they still do it, but they used to arrange sleepovers at Alcatraz. And they tell you about the sleepover while you're listening to an audio recording in your ears of a riot that happened there where several people died.
A ghost comes up about midnight.
Well, that's the thing. They put the wind up you and then invite you to have a sleepover. There's several people escaped from Alcatraz. They don't know if they were eaten or if they did get to the mainland. They're not sure.
It's a sort of a grey area, isn't it?
There is some...
we're eaten by sharks for sure.
There is some belief that they did, or two of them actually made it.
There was a letter that was sent to the FBI. I'm not exactly sure when, but decades afterwards, and the person claimed to be one of the escapees and said that they had all made it. I don't know if they ever verified that the letter was actually from that person or what.
It's quite a long swim, though, isn't it?
Hey, yep, yeah, the currents and the currents and the tides are god awful terrible. Is anybody gonna have a go at flying down Market Street?
Could do.
Into the clock tower.
Yes, yeah, if you go northeast, you will go into the ferry building.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
that nice cruise liner at anchor.
Here we go, guys. Somebody pick up the bits, will they?
That must be a P&O boat. It's all white.
Have I got to do it for the benefit of the stream, have I? Go and fly through the bridge.
Yeah, well, I'm going for it now.
Crashed and burned.
Right, let's slow down a bit.
I'm having a bit of a flashback. I worked for Transamerica Life Companies for a few years, and there's our beautiful building.
Did you make it, Jonathan?
Toast.
No, I didn't. I crashed out on the first pile, first two.
I thought I was going to make it through the first one until I didn't.
Yeah, I crashed on the first one.
Out came the Y key.
The crosswind is no fun.
Bay Bridge is bad.
I got away with it.
Just fly alongside it and admire it.
Okay, who worked for Transamerica Life?
That was Joe Cool 63.
My mom worked for Transamerica Occidental Life for years.
I worked in the for the reinsurance division that was based in Charlotte.
My mom was out of California.
Okay, Golden Gate Park.
What runway at Oakland?
I was just looking, and we can go for runway 28. These are the two parallel runways. One is a little offset, so 28.
Yep. I remember that from the Bruce Hardwick days back in the mid-'80s. Instead of MiGs, that's where I was always dropped off at.
Yeah, I think Flight Simulator 2 put you on the ground at Oakland.
Yep, back then it was 27 rate in vector
That was it.
graphics.
Is that when the runways were just two green lines? Or black?
We're talking black and white.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other night.
I'm going to circle the city for a bit and have a look at it. So I can see the Coit Tower and the Transamerica Pyramid, and it's very good, isn't it?
Very good.
There's all the piers. Can you see the seals?
Yeah, I think they did a great job of the pyramid. Looks nice.
I wonder if the seals are on the water in Pier 39. I'm going to go and have a look. If anybody's not been to San Francisco and doesn't know the story, there's one of the piers has got lots of shops and attractions on it. It's up by the cruise liner in the scenery, and they built a load of exclusive moorings about 25-30 years ago, and the seals said thank you very much, and they made it their home. So they couldn't use any of them.
Oh yeah, it is just all packed with sea lions.
Sounds like that walrus that was in England last year.
Yeah, they've removed it from the scenery. You can't see them. Then, bizarrely, I think it was about 10 years ago, the seals cleared out and disappeared for a long time.
They went on holiday?
Nobody knows what happened. But then I think they've slowly come back, but they just vanished, like, within days. The whole lot vanished.
Orcs. Probably discovered a fishing boat that was chucking all the fish back in.
There should be a U-boat and a sailing ship up by the cruise liner as well.
That's on dry land, isn't it?
No, they're in the water.
Oh, right.
In the Pacific.
Yeah, the U-boat is under the water in the scenery. I've just spotted it. It's next to a supply ship that's moored up. I say U-boat, I think it's an American submarine, not a German one.
There was a Russian submarine in Juliet class in Copenhagen for a little while. You could go and see it, and I went to see the American submarine as well, and it's quite different.
Yes.
You should see a Norwegian submarine. Americans call them sardines.
Liverpool over here has a Russian submarine.
Yeah, bloke's doing it up, isn't he?
Various stages of falling apart, I believe.
Right.
They were built like that.
I guess the easiest way to get to Oakland is to follow the Oakland Bay Bridge.
I'm lining up for finals.
Emmanuel, Jonathan, thank you so much for this flight. I really enjoyed it today.
Oh, this is all Emmanuel's doing. Nothing to do with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yes, thank you, Emmanuel. It's good fun.
Thanks to Manuel. I'm bugging out now, guys. Good night. Have a good week, and catch you next week.
See you soon, Lee.
Yeah, see you.
See you later.
Night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
As a newbie, I really enjoyed this afternoon. Thank you for the hospitality this afternoon. This was wonderful.
Brilliant.
You're welcome.
They turn the leading lights on just for me.
So what runway are we using at Oakland?
28.
28. Right.
Just coming over the Naval Air Station.
I was just overflying the ballpark, and I just can't help but think, man, that is one of the best places to ever watch a baseball game. There's not a bad seat in the house. They thought it out very, very well.
Is it a AT&T Park or Oracle?
It's your sponsor name here, Park, but that's what most people know it as.
And see, Mariner Stadium in Seattle is kind of like that too, and no matter where you are in there, it's a good view.
Yep.
This is a golf course, just aligned with the runway. It's crazy.
Yes, indeed. And the one that immediately leaps the line for me, closer to home, is the Big Maloney Golf Course on the approach enter runway 02 at SAC Executive. They actually have rabbit lights on the golf course.
So is there not a danger if you hit a chip shot and somebody's on approach?
I guess that turns it into an approach shot.
I knew there was something missing off my windshield. One of those golf ball crashed through the window decals.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to hit it seriously wrong for the ball to go several hundred feet in the air, though.
You've got more danger of hitting a bird than you have a golf ball.
Well, a couple of times the golf ball went 90 degrees straight off of my driver. Instead of going down course, it went 90 degrees to the right. They started calling me a stunt golfer.
That fog across the bay is just incredible, isn't it? The way it renders it.
Yeah, it just stays locally on the west part. It's really great, really well done.
My God, I actually landed. I had like frame throw here, and I was on the ground.
On my G1000, I got 2 red crosses. If you look on my stream, I've never noticed them before. What are they?
Turn on your avionics switch, and then we'll populate.
Oh yeah, I've turned it all off. That's what's happened. You know, that my hardware I've turned off. Yeah.
Yeah, it likes if the second circuit was not working.
Pop the fuse.
I mean, if you look at my the 2, well, I call them pointers, the guides for the flight director as against the autopilot, they're all, because I've turned it off, they're all wonky.
So we'll wait for the last one to land. I see almost everyone is aligned for the final. We are on time. Thank you all.
Coming in thick and fast, aren't they?
It's a gaggle.
I'll say again before everybody chips in, thank you very much, Emmanuel. It's a nice flight.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Wish I could have joined you. Could not get my flight simulator running.
Yeah, we've been having issues with the power and the light. I lost it right after takeoff at Napa County.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks all, and see you next week.
Yep, see you soon.
See you soon.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, thank you, Emmanuel, for the flight. Thank you, gentlemen. See you all next week.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, have a great one.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Yep, see you soon.
Good night. See you.
Night.
Yeah, see ya.
Had to push the pause button on final. The wife rang me.
That's always the way.
At least you got your priorities right the way.
Happy wife, happy life.
I was going to say, can you imagine saying, hang on a minute, I just need to land my pretend aeroplane?
Well, she understands. She apologised.
Right. Plug. So night, everyone.
Yep. See you soon.
You're not.
Yeah.
See you later.
See ya.
Good night, everyone.
See you soon.
Good night.
Good night, see you soon.
Yeah.
So I just flipped that over to IVAO, and that did the trick. Jonathan, thank you so much for doing that.
That's all right.
As far as the direction of the tracking icons.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
The only reason I use an IVAO format is because they published the format of their data. So I was able to figure out which column of data was which.
Always helps to know what you're looking at, right?
Exactly. I could have done it with the others, but it would have just taken an awful lot longer.
Well, it is much appreciated, sir. Thank you.
That's fine. Right, I'm going to turn the live stream off.